So we continue with Elul. Some of you are already dressed for Rosh Hashanah, wearing all white. What?
Excited.
You're excited. So, for those of you who weren't here on the first year, you can catch it online. It's going viral. 4 billion clicks. Are you joining us, Isaac? No? Okay, said it. So, the mahalach that Rav Dessler began is to tell us that the path of Hashem is everything that we experience. And either we use whatever we're experiencing to grow, or we're using it to go the other direction. There's no middle ground. If you take everything that is Hashem has put in front of you to grow, there's opportunities of growth, of connection to Hashem, you're a tzaddik. If you're taking what Hashem is giving you and you pull yourself down, then you are a rasha. And when a person is vacillating between that, sometimes he does it like a tzaddik, sometimes he does like a rasha, that's called a beinoni, somebody in the middle. Which means that he is once uses whatever is coming at him to grow, and once he's using it to bring himself down. That's the idea. That's what we discussed yesterday, or Thursday, I'm sorry. The challenge for all of us is to recognize the truth and start paying attention to how much of whatever that is put before us we use to transgress, to pull ourselves spiritually down. Or even worse, how we lived a year without being aware, bichlal, that we were going down the tubes. There are lots and lots of folks out there that are not aware, bichlal, that they are making choices and making the wrong choices. They're not thinking, I have to make a good choice now, make a bad. They're not even thinking, they're not even in the game. They think they're not in the game, but the game is running independent of their das, independent of their knowledge. Sometimes you run into a Jews and they say, in your books it says this. It's like, what do you mean my books? Think I wrote this? It's your book also. You're chayiv just like me. You have the obligation to be a tzaddik, to be a light unto other nations like any other Jew. The fact that you're choosing not to play, that doesn't mean that the game isn't being played with your life. So now we'll talk about the Torah. The Holy Torah is a gift from Hashem. Does everybody agree with that? It's a gift. And it is the best tool that God could give to a human being for his own benefit. The Torah is for your benefit. People drag their feet and complain, there's so many rules, It's for your benefit. It's like a guy going to a gym, saying, there are all these machines, and forget it. We put it here for you. It's for your health, your benefit. You don't want to do it? Then don't. You won't be healthy. You're going to look like Shaya. I didn't say his last name because he's a big popular guy on the Kuzari series, so we can't. It's a benefit. It's a big benefit. And so, even though it is the best tool that Hashem could give us, yet it still depends if we merit, it becomes a life-giving force. And if we don't merit, it becomes a force that takes your life, your spiritual life. That's a Gemara in Yuma. Zacha, sama chaim. Lo zacha, sama mavis. Zacha means what? What does zacha mean? Pure. If you're pure in your 3 levels of your existence, your thoughts, your speech, and your actions, you're pure, then the Torah is going to be the best tool for you. But if you're impure in your thoughts, impure in your speech, impure in your behavior, then the Torah becomes samamavis. It will lead you to your doom. And so, a tzaddik lives according to the Torah because he maintains purity of thought, of words, and of actions. Whereas a rasha who fills himself with impurity, with all sorts of schmutz is the Yiddish word for dirt, then whatever Torah he's going to get, he's only going to use it in his schmutzy way. And so, Chazal tell us that there's a grave danger for those who are toiling in Torah if they do it from a perspective of falsehood. If you're coming at it the wrong way, the Torah is a very, very dangerous tool. So Rav Dessler says he was asked a question on that. The question was like this: if he did not merit or he was not pure, it becomes poison to kill him. Then, and as the rabbi said, that whoever learns Torah without yirat shamayim, without fear of God, would cause him more harm to himself than any good. And so the question was, isn't it better that the person should not learn Torah? That was the question. We all understand the question, or should I repeat it? Get it? Good. Baruch Hashem. So Rav Dessler says that is a stupid question. People always say there's no such thing as stupid questions. Well, that's not true. There are stupid questions. And 2, if you do want to hold that there's no such thing as stupid questions, then fine, but there are stupid people. Those are the 2 options, I think. No? So Rav Dessler said, She'ela tipshit, stupid question. Because a person is going to learn, let's say we're going to say the person is going to learn Torah anyway, and he's got the wrong attitude or the wrong approach. And he's learning Torah. And the Torah then becomes very dangerous for him. Okay? So when it says that you shouldn't do it, it means that the Torah itself it shouldn't. Which is what? That is a very, very serious thing for the Torah itself, that the Torah is being treated without any reverence. Like a guy who takes the Torah to the beach. Or to, places where it's not sanua. It's not. That's not how you learn Torah. There's the base medrash. We sit in the base medrash with socks. We learn. There's a tzura of how we dress to learn Torah, right? Think that we all wear suits stam because we got a good deal on a suit? No. Mamash lo. When before I came to Israel, when I was running certain organizations, I always told my staff and also the students at the university that you should dress for the job you want, not the job you have. You might be the mail clerk, but if you want to move up and you want to become assistant manager, you want to, whatever it is, then dress like that's the job you want. Take it seriously. Show that you're not going to the Makolet, to the beach. I remember there was a guy, from Toronto. Used to wear suits, with a tie too. Then all of a sudden, it got too hot. Oh, you got too hot. Okay, so maybe I should tell you a story. I learned about that there's no direct relationship between clothes and the weather when I lived in New York. So when I lived in New York, this was a few years ago, I lived in New York from 95 to 99. Okay? So I went to NYU. Okay? And we had friends and this, and in the winter it gets a little nippy in New York, right? And you would see people waiting to get into nightclubs. And there would be people, not our gender, the other gender. Back then it was clear. Today I hear you don't really know. But back then it was clear that they were of the opposite gender, dressed very immodestly, in very cold weather, standing outside. And I looked at them and I realized that they are standing like that in order to send a particular message. And what was the message? Whatever it is, we don't have to get into that. So I said, okay, so if they could do that, I'm also going to dress to send a message independent of what the weather's like. That's it. We dress like this because we're trying to honor the Torah, honor the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and hence that is the way that we present ourselves. That's the idea. So, if a person is studying in a way think about it another way. If somebody's not learning Torah, does that mean they're not learning anything? No. They're learning the Torah of the streets, the Torah of secular life. They're learning whatever that environment that they're living in, they're learning that. It's not that a person who is not sitting in the base medrash, then okay, no Torah, but he's not learning anything else. He's learning all the other schmutz that there's out there. He's learning that you can identify as whatever you want. He's learning that it's okay to whatever, who knows, drugs. That modesty is nuts. That it's YOLO. You guys know what YOLO is? What's YOLO? You only live once. Meaning what? Then just live whatever you want. But if they were really serious, if they really believed YOLO, they should be starker than us. They should be more religious than us. Because they only got one shot. The Zohar tells us we have Gilgulim. So we'll be back, we can fix, we can be better. But if they say YOLO, only one shot, then what are you doing? You have this much, let's say the entire universe, right? Eternity is, from this point goes forever this way. Whatever you do in your lifetime, which is this small, determines everything else that happens to you. That's your YOLO, my friend. That's what you want to do with it? But they're getting messages. They're getting a certain crooked morality from the outside world. So if they're devoid of the Holy Torah, they're filling that void with nonsense, at best. But many of them are filling it with tumah, with impurity. And it's making it much, much worse. And so, yes, there's a danger to learn Torah. But if you don't learn Torah, you're going to be a goner no matter what. It's going to be over. This for me? You got the water for me? So it's mine, I can have it, I can drink it? Sometimes somebody brings for somebody else. I don't want to. Tov. So, we are creatures that learn from the environment in which we live. Do we all agree with that? Whatever environment you're in, you're going to learn from that environment. If you're going to be in an environment of folly, that's the Torah you're going to get, the teachings of folly and nonsense. If you're going to be in an environment of violence and drugs and robbery and all of this crime, that's going to be what is going. That's the Torah you're going to learn. So, even though there's a danger to learn Torah, the Holy Torah, the Torah of Hashem, but the alternative is much, much worse. Here you might have 50-50 chance. Zacha, lo zacha. But over there, for sure, you have no chance whatsoever. And so, if you don't learn Torah, it's going to be much worse for you than if you learn Torah in the wrong way. And so the greatest kli that Hashem gave us is His Torah. And through learning Torah, we at least hope to accomplish a few things. One, to know the Torah. To know what does God want. Two, to work on our midot. The Torah tells us how we should behave and how we shouldn't behave. Torah helps us control the thoughts, the speech, and our actions. Not only does the knowledge of Torah help us improve ourselves, but when we put the teachings of the Torah into action, then it brings us closer and closer to perfection. The Torah has mitzvot. Mitzvot are about controlling ourselves. Doing what Hashem wants, not doing what I want. I might want to stay in bed and sleep, but Hashem wants me to daven shachris in a minyan, so I get up. I had big pasta bowl. Oh, it's at lunch, Sunday. I need a nap. Too bad, 3 o'clock. We have a mitzvah, v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. We have to love every fellow Jew. Some Jews are easier to love than others. Right, Saxteen? Some Jews, it's easier to love than others. Yeah. I don't know how you put up with him.
That's a great question.
But Lamaise, we have a mitzvah to love every Jew, even the ones that are annoying. What are the limits? There are limits. Sudat Shabbat. Shabbat is, for a lot of guys, it's hard because they're not there yet. So they're bored. And then there's this thing called phone that they put it on paperweight mode, but now they're bored. And it's calling them. Bzz, bzz. So it's a battle. So the Torah allows us to look at every situation, every experience, as an opportunity to grow. But that means you have to live the Torah in order to know what you need to do in every situation. There was a guy who said, Rabbi, I want to do chesed. Okay, so he started a gemach, a chesed organization, to only help 19-year-old to 21-year-old girls cross the street. Obviously, that's not the right chesed, right?
I would work for him, but
What? What?
I would work for him, but
So you have to apply your Torah to every circumstance that you are experiencing to come closer and closer to Hashem. And that's why the Torah is the greatest tool, because it fixes your outlook. It focuses you to see what you need to be doing in every situation. And it's hard to make the right decision every time. Yes, we are basar v'adam. We are made out of flesh and blood. And it's hard. We have emotions. We have our ego. We have our wishes and wants and taivas, desires. But the Torah gives us this opportunity to keep growing and growing and moving up and up and up. Another of the great gifts that Hashem gave to the Jewish people is Eretz Yisrael. Now you might ask, yes, Benny. Go ahead. You were.
I wasn't even talking.
What's the rule if somebody falls asleep? Do we wake them or let them stay?
Just start clapping. You have to ask them beforehand whether they want to be woken.
Oh, it's up to them.
If they fall asleep, whether they want to be woken up.
Yeah, what does the Torah say? Does anybody have a shofar? Spare shofar?
it says you don't, doesn't it?
What?
It says you don't wake them.
You don't wake them. We wake them.
Okay. Maybe that's if they're asleep, like after the bed, after.
In bed, it's not in bed. Land of Israel. So obviously we're not talking about the physical land of Israel alone, But that the spiritual power of the holiness of Eretz Yisrael allows us to reach higher levels of Avodas Hashem that we couldn't elsewhere. There's greater siyata dishmaya of holiness in Eretz Yisrael than anywhere else in the world. And so, Moshe Rabbeinu, after 120 years, what did he really want from Hashem? To get into here. Just imagine. Who's sitting over there? Behind the pole.
Me.
Who's me?
You're the
You can't sit behind the, I can't see you. Thank you. Yeah, relax, put your feet up. It's only Musar. What if the person who's sleeping is danger to himself? Do we wake him up because he could?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, if it's a danger to themselves to sleep, then yeah.
What? Yeah. So Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to enter Eretz Yisrael. You're doing something that Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't do. Did you thank Hashem for that? I never thought about it. Why did he want to enter Eretz Yisrael? Did he want to eat the fruits here? That's what Chazal asked. Why did he want to come to Eretz Yisrael? To get some more grapes? Have some figs? What did he want? He was already at the Madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu. And so, no, he wanted to reach a higher level that he was. It's a new level in Avodas Hashem that he wanted. And then you might say, but he was a Navi, and he understood that the Torah in Eretz Yisrael and the Nevuah, the prophecy of Eretz Yisrael, is nothing like the outside. And he wanted that. And so, you see that even Yaakov Avinu gave everything that he gained from Lavan. He's like, you can take that. All of this stuff has nothing to do with Eretz Yisrael. You can have it. I want the kinyanim, the aspects of Eretz Yisrael. And even this tool of Eretz Yisrael has a dangerous aspect to it. It could bring you to your own destruction. Why? Because it says in Parashas Eikev that you will be gone or lost quickly from this land. I will lead you, Rashi says, into Golus, because you sinned here. There's no guarantee if you come to Israel that you would not sin. There's no guarantee that if you come to Eretz Yisrael that you would not sin. Without examples, did anybody in this room sin while they were in Eretz Yisrael? I'm closing my eyes because I'm sure everybody says no. Tzaddikim. So just coming to Eretz Yisrael doesn't make you sin-proof. But sinning in here, sinning in Eretz Yisrael, you're going to earn a greater punishment. So that's the danger, Moshe. And so,
do you also get forgiven faster?
I'm sorry?
Do you get forgiven faster?
That's a good question. I don't know. I didn't see a source that says yes. But in Eretz Yisrael, you could get Golus. And the whole purpose of Golus is to break your arrogance. And so, Eretz Yisrael is nikned, is acquired through Yisurim, through suffering. That's what the Gemara in Bracha says. Why Yisurim? Because Yisurim, suffering, Allah is going to bring you to do tshuva. And so, Eretz Yisrael as a tool, it has positive attributes, but it has a dangerous side, just like the Torah. Now we come to Yomim Noroi. We're heading towards Yomim Noraim, Rosh Hashanah, Seres Yemei Tshuva, Yom Kippur. One second. That's where we're heading. That also is a tool. That tool you could use to grow, or that tool you're going to actually use it to your detriment. Yes?
So if we're using the logic that even if you're like a very wicked person, you must still learn Torah because the alternative's worse, is that the same with coming to Israel? If you're just in such a sinful like routine, should you avoid coming to Israel? Or
No, you should come and Be'ezrat Hashem do tshuva here.
Then you aren't going to pick up so much sin while you're here?
You might not. You might be me'orer. Maybe it'll wake you up. Look what happened to Saxton. Wow. I didn't. That was supposed to be a home run. You see, you took the opportunity to be a tzaddik and you work on it. So the Yomim Noraim, Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us these days in order that we clean ourselves from sin. That's the purpose of what we're doing here this time of year. And we have Yamei Din, days of judgment, and we know how to do tshuva. And we are hoping to get to the chesed of Yom Kippurim, where Rabbi Akiva said, Ashreichem Yisrael, lifnei mi atem mitarim u'mi metaher eschem. That we are becoming purified before Hashem, and it is Hashem who is purifying us. Nobody else. There are no intermediaries, my friend. It's between you and Hashem. You don't need anybody in the middle. But even in this, you could learn to become a Rasha. How so? That's what everybody wants to know. The Arizal says, you have to be careful when you do vidui. You ever seen vidui? People go like this, right? That you say the words without feeling any sort of embarrassment. It's bad news. You say, Hashem, I sinned, I did this, I did that. Really? That's how you're doing tshuva? With no shame? Shame on you! Yeah.
One of those things you haven't personally done, how can you feel ashamed for it?
Have you done the other ones? Oh, Hashem. So feel shameful for that. It's not a list of ideas. Oh, I never thought about doing that. Ooh. That's not the point of vidui. Ooh, look at this. They're not suggestions for next year. Chas v'shalom. Ooh, kares. Try that one. Maybe get some sauce with it, marinara sauce. And a person should not say viduim in a way that he's going to start thinking of the sin and start desiring it. It's a danger. Sometimes when you want to say, Hashem, I'm sorry for what I did, and then you start telling Hashem what you did, and then now the movie starts, and you're like, oh yeah, whatever happened to her? And the next thing you know, you're trying to find her on the internet. And then you get a text message. Hey!
After Yom Tov, of course.
No. On Yom Tov.
So should one, so to say, be vague when asking for teshuva in a situation like that? Without going too much.
Yeah, don't go. Yeah, for sure. And certainly don't do group viduis. Oh, that's nothing. You know what I used to do? You know? They still have that picture of that guy from that sheep farm. He's not allowed to come anywhere near it. So, Rabbi say, sometimes even a vidui on Yom Kippur he would use in order to rebel against Hashem. That instead of using the vidui to purify himself, to remove, to regret, to change his life, he's starting to get into it and he's like, ah! And therefore the whole purpose of the Aseret Yemei Tshuva become his death sentence. So there's a big nisayon in doing tshuva. And Rav Dessler says that one time he heard a story of somebody that was close to the great Bali Musar. And he was working on learning the different types of midot and how to break the yetzer. And he started paying attention or devoting his attention to understanding taiva, desire. What is it? Why is it? How does it work? And that he recognized that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put him in this. And for example, it's like a hunger that causes a person Yisurim. And in the same way that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu put him this desire to eat, which is we call hunger, he put this desire for other things that are not like food. And he got into it and all of this, and then in the end, you know what happened to him? Got caught in the taiva. Because in the end he said, that's what I want the taiva. And he went to the taivas. So there's a danger also if you are on the path. You have to understand, it's a nisayon. It's a test. And so how can we fix it? How can we stop choosing wrongly? How can we stop choosing transgression? And how do we turn the boat around and start sailing up the stream? For that, Yimil Hashem tomorrow.